Where's your cell phone right now? Chances are it's somewhere close to you.
But even if it's right in your hand, scammers can still take control of it and drain your bank accounts.
It's a cybercrime called SIM swapping, and it's costing people across the country tens of millions of dollars.
And it was probably one of the most traumatic experiences I've ever gone through.
Daisy Jing.
I went, I'm being hacked. There's wire transfers. They're fraudulent.
And Heidi Diamond are separated by more than 2,000 miles, but they're connected by one scam.
Had you ever heard of SIM swapping before it happened to
I'd
you?
never heard of this before.
The FBI says many people haven't, and that's why when the crime starts, most have no idea what's happening until it's too late.
What was your first clue that something was wrong?
I realized, oh wow, like my phone doesn't work at all.
At that point, she hopped on her laptop to contact her cell phone company, and that's when she realized she was being hacked.
They changed the account name, the email address, and the phone number on file to my Capital One account.
All because scammers took control of her phone. Here's how the FBI says SIM swapping works. It begins with identity theft. Scammers steal your information and convince your cell phone company they're you. They say their phone was lost or stolen and they need a new phone with a new SIM card activated with your phone number. Once that happens, all the information on your phone moves to the one in the scammer's hands, leaving your phone useless. An FBI agent we spoke with warned of the all-access nature of the scam and asked we not name him to protect his identity as an investigator.
If that person has control of your phone number, then they also have the ability to access all those accounts that your phone number is tied to.
And I didn't realize they were going to start going after like the financial accounts. That's when it was really scary.
It was such a panic that something was so out of your control.
The scammers gain that access because SIM swapping bypasses one of the top protections experts suggest you use, two-factor authentication. If your bank texts or emails you a code, that now goes directly to the scammer, allowing them to reset all your passwords, access your accounts, and start to bleed them dry. That's exactly what happened to Heidi and Daisy. Someone posed as them and got each of their numbers assigned to a new phone.
How much money was taken from you?
Over $200,000.
Just a few years ago, this scam was relatively uncommon. The FBI says that's not the case anymore.
So the victims are growing.
Growing exponentially.
When it first started tracking this cybercrime from 2018 to 2020, the FBI says there were 320 SIM swap complaints for about $12 million in losses. But by 2021, there were 1,600 SIM swap complaints, and in 2022, more than 2,000, costing victims a combined $141 million. The spike is attributed to targeting cryptocurrency, but anyone can become a victim.
What happens to these victims afterwards? Can they ever recover what's lost?
Sometimes, if it's caught fast enough, it can be pulled back, but typically it relies on legal process like seizure warrants generated by us to try to go claw back some of those funds and try to return them to the victims.
But oftentimes you may lose everything.
Yeah, you may lose everything.
So how can you protect yourself? Here's what the FBI says to do. The first step, don't overshare on social media. Information like the city you live in, where you work, who your family members are, can be used to steal your identity. Sharing details that you have cryptocurrency also makes you a target. Next, set up extra layers of security with your bank and other accounts. You can tell the institution you want to require a code word for certain transactions. You can also give two-factor authentication with a physical security key, essentially a flash drive, instead of using your phone number or email. Daisy was lucky. PayPal stopped the transfers before they went through, and Heidi's bank eventually reimbursed her money. But she says she wants more than just her money back.
I want my day in court. I want these people found. I want them convicted. I want them put in jail.
They also want their story to serve as a lesson to others. Be vigilant now, so you won't regret it.
SIM card swapping almost cost Sharon Hussey of Bethesda, Maryland, $17,000.
It was absolutely stunning. It was just like my heart fell to the floor.
It all started when Hussey got this email thanking her for a purchase of a new phone at Verizon. Minutes later, her contact information at Bank of America changed. The problem? She didn't do either transaction and had two-factor authentication on her accounts.
The bottom just kind of dropped out.
She called Bank of America, but her cell phone was no longer active. An online attempt required a verification code her phone couldn't receive. Within minutes, her 17 grand was missing.
Initially, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. I thought I had handled it on the first day by calling the bank, calling Verizon, figuring things out.
Hussey tells 7 News Verizon said someone in California walked into one of its stores and purchased a new phone along with a new SIM card and used Hussey's current phone number to activate the new phone. When the new phone was turned on, Hussey's phone went dead. Hussey used a landline to contact Bank of America, but it was too late. 17 grand vanished.
And I have two-factor authentication, which ended up kind of biting me in the face when it all came down to it. That was the thing that completely hijacked everything. They had complete control of my phone, and there was nothing I could do about it.
SIM card swapping has been around for the past 4 years. But security experts tell 7 News this type of scam has recently skyrocketed.
In 2021, roughly 6 times as many dollars were stolen through this as the years before.
Online security expert Alex Quilisi with Umail says the scam is simple.
The bad guys convince the telephone company that they have the SIM for your phone number. And the minute the phone company does the swap, they're in control of your number.
Scammers then use two-factor authentication through your cell phone to access your accounts.
If you've been doing two-factor authentication everywhere to your mobile phone number, if someone else gets that mobile phone number, they can authenticate as if they're you.
Over the next 3 months, Bank of America denied Hussey's claim, saying it can't be honored. Eventually, the bank reversed its initial decision and refunded the 17 grand.
Courtney Black says she received a text message appearing to be from her bank, Chase.
I got a text message that said, "Did you authorize a wire transfer?" I texted back no. 2 minutes later, I get a phone call from a 1-800 number, and I answered it.
She says the caller identified himself as a Chase employee, and he would help her cancel the fraudulent transfer.
He told me, "You need to enter this account number," because that's the account it was going to. Section by section, he was telling me how to do it.
Black says she saw all the money in her accounts disappear, but that the scammer promised this was all a part of the wire reversal process.
The next morning, I kind of got like a gut feeling something wasn't right. And I called Chase, and they're like, "No, you were scammed."
In the end, she says she lost more than $11,000. Black says the scammer knew her date of birth, the last 4 digits of her social security number, her Chase account number, and her balance.
There's a lot of information that is on the dark web.
Scott Augenbaum, a former FBI agent, says stolen passwords and usernames from other website data breaches could be how Courtney's account was compromised.
The cyber criminals are banking on the fact that 66% of the population is using the same password from mission-critical platforms.
He says that hacked user data can be used to log into other website accounts if the same usernames and passwords are reused. To fight this, some banks send you a code anytime a transfer of money is initiated, and he says that's what the scammers targeting Courtney were after, and she gave them the code. But many advocates say there should be more safeguards. The Electronic Funds Transfer Act and the Truth in Lending Act protect certain types of money transfers, but not all.
If a consumer disputes it with the bank or the creditor, then they have to investigate, and if they determine it's unauthorized, they reimburse the consumer. But there's a huge loophole for wire transfers. Those are excluded.
Sanchez Adams says she and the National Consumer Law Center have advocated for Congress to change these laws.
And it just seems so crazy to me that all of these transactions that are not wires are protected by federal law. law, and wires are not protected.
For now, Chase has denied Black's claims, telling GMA these types of scams are heartbreaking, and we urge all consumers to ignore phone, text, or internet requests for money or access to their computer or bank accounts. Legitimate companies won't make these requests, but scammers will.